Welcome to Bank on Her. I'm Makenzie Conklin, and I teach you how to make confidence a strength in and out of your business so you can build self-made wealth and unrealistic success on your terms. I've gone from defeatingly low self-worth to a multiple six-figure entrepreneur by learning how to bank on myself, and I believe you can do it too. Listen to find out how. Hey everyone, welcome back to Bank on Her. This episode is all about one of the most frequently asked questions that I get, which is, how do I believe without proof? Or another iteration of this question is, how do I believe in myself when I have so much proof that it can't happen as big, fast, or incredible as I want? I get asked this question so much, and I think it will take more than one podcast to break down, but we're going to dive in, just do it bit by bit and see where we get today. The reason I get asked this question so frequently is because women want to believe they can do more, but the lack of proof makes them feel uncertain, and it ends up slowing them down so tremendously on their way to creating the identity, the income, the impact that they're really wanting. We think proof, and here's why. We think proof will make us feel safer. And sometimes it does. But I think it's incredibly important just to name what's actually going on here. Our brains want proof because we want to feel more certain we can do something. So what this is really about is craving more certainty. And certainty is, again, really about feeling more safe. So what's happening is that we think proof equals safety. Proof equals certainty. And it can, but proof isn't the only way to feel more certain and feel more safe. And so that's what this episode will be about, is how to really believe without proof. I'm going to be a little cheeky on this episode, but why do you need proof to believe? Or why do you need to feel certain? Skipping directly to the answer of both those questions, it's just because it helps you make you feel safe. Like I just said. And feeling safe makes everything we do infinitely more potent because we're not constantly fearing that we won't be okay, we'll be ostracized, failed, that we'll be judged, critiqued, and so on. We want safety. Let me be clear. We want safety. I believe safety should always be a priority to, have that nervous system safety, but it does not need to come through proof. That's what I want to be very clear here. Safety should be priority. Proof should not be. Proof is just one form of creating safety. And I want to say, this is the cheeky part. I did not have proof that I could build a $500,000 business in a few years, but I'm doing it. I did not have proof that I could be an entrepreneur. I didn't have anyone as an entrepreneur come before me in my family. I don't even think I had proof that I could be confident. I was raised in the most wonderful, loving Italian family and household, but in that culture, women are very subservient to men. I did not see women in my family audaciously existing and earning. That is very new to me. There has not been, I don't think, I'm fairly certain, but now I'm questioning myself because I know they listen to this. There's never been a single woman in my family who's earned six figures and more at my age for certain. That's very new. I haven't seen it, but I believed I could without the proof. I never saw anyone leave the designated traditional path expected of them. I did not have proof, right? And so I'm recording this in December. It'll probably be released in January. We're going to make Christmas references, okay? There's so many phrases about you have to see it to believe it in our culture. But I actually think when you're working to achieve something that feels very out of reach, or maybe you're the first generation in your family to do something you have seen, maybe you've seen other people do something, but have no concrete proof it's possible for you. And I don't think you have to see it to believe it. I think you need to believe it in order to see it come to life. And so Polar Express, this is my Christmas reference, if you haven't seen the movie, I loved it when I was younger, but now I just rewatched it. I'm like, is that a little weird of a movie? Maybe. Anyway, it has a strong motif of the movie that is seeing is believing. And it's the idea that in order for the little boy in the movie to experience the magic of the North Pole in Christmas, he had to believe before he could see it, or rather hear the bells of Christmas. I feel like people are going to be so out of the Christmas spirit by the time this releases. Anyway, I think it's the same here. When you are breaking rules, shaking up paradigms, challenging standards, and creating far more for yourself than you ever have before, especially when it comes to achieving against cultural bias or as women, it will take believing without proof. You don't need proof to believe in something. I want you to know that from this episode. You don't need proof to believe in something. There are so many things, and there's multi-levels to this. There are so many things I've achieved without proof just because I relied on belief in myself instead. And I'm almost positive someone will be like, but I don't believe in myself, Makenzie. So you can hire me and we can work on that together. But if you're not fully believing in yourself, that's when it comes down to the safety element. That's the foundation. If there's no proof and there's little belief, therefore little certainty, right? Where can you develop the safety so that you can do it scared while still having those guardrails of safety to rely on that foundation of safety? And so often people think proof means I can do it. Or really, if we dissect that, proof we think will bring us certainty and safety, but belief creates certainty, and safety you can create yourself. Proof is not needed anywhere in this equation. There are so many, again, things I've achieved just relying on belief or just relying on safety. And so when you're not fully believing in yourself, rely on the safety. And if there's not safety there, how can you create it for yourself? And I'll show you examples. And so I think there's a misunderstanding inherently hidden in the question of how do I believe that proof? That belief requires proof. But I actually think belief is made stronger in instances where there is no proof. So all the times that I haven't had evidence that I could do something, I either had self-belief or made sure I had my own back so I could feel safe and knew that I would love myself either way, which helped me feel safe. Those times have built my belief more than anything. The times that I was uncertain but had safety built my belief more than anything because it created proof. But I want you to notice how sitting and waiting for proof first wouldn't have allowed me to build that belief. I find that many women, when they're asking this question, find themselves searching for proof. They're waiting for it to fall in their lap. They're looking for it anywhere they can. When the focus should, instead of searching for proof, it should be, how can I create proof? How can I create safety? Where is their belief? And like I'm kind of indicating here, quite frankly, we don't even need belief half the time. coming from a confidence coach, focus on self-belief. But I was thinking of some instances for this episode in which I had no proof. I wasn't even sure. I had belief, rather, but belief was created. And so let me walk you through some instances, and I want you to notice how I went about creating the safety and the belief. So I launched my business. I have friends of mine who they started business before me. They watched me do this or heard of me doing this, and they still comment on, they're like, Makenzie, the audacity that you had to do that was absurd. And I would agree. So for the story, I started my business and really kicked off my business with a mastermind, which is just so not advisable. But that's what I did. I had no proof that I could launch my business with a mastermind. I'll say this, I had coached many people for free before I'd even decided that I was going to start a business. And I did have a couple paying clients before, but really I kicked off my business very strongly with a mastermind. And I've never seen anyone do that because, again, it takes a lot of audacity to do that. But the one belief I anchored myself into that I had down pat, this belief was my rock, was that I believed I could achieve anything I set my mind to. That wasn't up for question. It wasn't debatable. I had it down. And so I relied on that. But more so than that, I made sure I felt safe. So I really grounded myself in the idea that I had nothing to lose at that point. My worst case was it flopped, it didn't work, and then I'd go try selling private coaching. So really, I neutralized the risk and invited in safety. It was probably because I had the belief that I could achieve anything I set my mind to, that I wasn't afraid of looking like a failure. I wasn't afraid of anything in terms of looking silly or what would people think. I had nothing to lose. I only had things to gain at that point. And so the what will people think of me, it just was not near my mind because I believed I could achieve anything I set my mind to. And I felt safe because it wasn't a big deal. I had nothing to lose. That was my mentality on it. And so another instance was I had no proof that I could do a $75,000 launch the first time I did it. It took me 3 months. I think before that, the biggest launch that I had was mid 40K launch. That's a big jump, nearly a double jump the first time I did it. I had no proof of that. And then after that, I had a rather flopped launch. And then my next launch, I did $78,000 in 3 weeks instead of 3 months. I had zero proof being in the realm of possibility. What I did have that my brain didn't even go there. If someone was like, can you do 75K again in 3 weeks? I would have told you no. I would have told you no. My belief was not there. There was no certainty I could have done that. I did not believe that. Rather, I did have belief that I could deeply help my people become more confident, and the belief that if I led and focused on them and on that, it would create more than I could believe possible. I want you to notice the type of belief there. It's almost tangential, right? And then in terms of safety, I grounded myself so much in somatic safety that I can't even explain it to you. I made sure I felt safe that even if I didn't get a single sale, I would love myself and there would be so much growth. I felt so safe that if I didn't create more income, I'd create other options. I felt so safe putting myself out there that even if no one saw the benefit, I knew I was onto something and I would click eventually. So I had the safety. I found belief in something that already my nervous system was behind. But even when I had no certainty that I could do that amount, no belief that I could do that amount, none, none. Okay. Another instance was, I'm trying to make this a little more business focused. I had no proof it would be safe to leave my job in corporate. And that goes back to what I said earlier in this episode. I had no proof of I'm a first generation entrepreneur. I had no proof of women being competent. I had no one leaving the corporate path or the path really. My family is not, I don't have a corporate family. My dad and sister are. I didn't have proof of that. I also left my job far sooner than what was probably recommended. I don't regret leaving when I did. I think I made the perfect decision, but would I recommend that to other people? Probably not. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? Probably not. And so there are many reasons that went into why I made that decision. I had some workplace trauma. And so it felt safer to go on my own than stay there a lot of the time. But an important belief going on there was that I believed I always had that I can achieve anything I set my mind to, but I believed that I would be able to figure things out if it didn't go as planned. And I grounded myself in safety, knowing I could get another job as the absolute worst case scenario. The other worst case scenario was I knew I could move home. I could keep building my business and trying from home at a new job, which when I started coaching people for free, I was living at home with a job. And so my worst case scenario was I live at home with a job that ideally is better than the job that I'm currently at. And so if I started my business and it went poorly, that was my worst case scenario. So I felt safe. I developed safety. And so what I want you to see in these 3 instances is I didn't necessarily primarily focus on the outright belief of I can have multiple 5-figure launch of a mastermind to kick off my business. I didn't think that. I think I believed I could do that if I set my mind to that, but I didn't have proof. So I focused on beliefs that would support the creation of what I wanted. With the 75K launches, right? I didn't have proof I could double my launch results. I did believe in my marketing abilities that were tangential, that supported me creating more than I thought possible. My beliefs focused on things that felt already safe that I didn't have to fight to believe. They were already there. And I don't have proof, for example, yet that I can have a 6-figure launch in 2 weeks. That's the goal. But I'd sure as hell bank on myself that I'm going to have a couple of them in 2023 because I have belief in so many other areas and I create safety along with that belief. So I want you to see what I'm getting at here. Proof isn't required. Outright belief that you can create something also isn't required. But I do think belief that supports you creating it is, and when it's not, safety. And what's absolutely important here is creating that safety and loving yourself and feeling safe in your nervous system through the potential risk and failure and uncertainty. That will serve as the foundation for all of it. And so when people ask, how do you believe without proof? So let's say it's, how do I believe I can sign a client, or when I haven't before? How do I believe I can do 6 figures in a year when I haven't before? How do I believe that, I'm trying to think of instances. How do I believe that I can reach the, $500,000 levels that I'm wanting when I don't have proof? You always have proof. There is always, in each of those scenarios, there is proof that your brain isn't invalidating, rather. You don't need proof, but you do have proof there that your brain is just invalidating, likely from shame. The other thing is, where can you believe in things that your nervous system can already get behind that will support you creating that? You don't need outright certainty. You can do that. You need belief that will support you creating it. And then third, where can you develop safety? Safety can come from so many things. It does not need to come from proof. So that's what I would ask yourself there. And the thing that's really important in a massive switch is, I don't expend energy looking for proof because I know I don't necessarily need it. I understand that, and through much trial and error, let me tell you, that it's a search for certainty, which is a search to just feel safe. But belief creates certainty, and safety can be created in my body on my own. And safety created on my own is much stronger than anything I can find externally through proof. So the questions to ask yourself is, how do I believe without proof, but how can I create proof? How can I create safety? Where is there belief that will support all of this? That is so much more of $1 million question, and a lucrative and profitable and loving set of questions to ask yourself, rather than, how can I believe in something when I don't have proof? Which automatically will put you in a level of disbelief. That's what's super important here. And I think something, I'm just going to rip at the end about this too. I think something that's so important is that your brain is going to fight this at some point, one instance or another. It might not be the first, goal that you're working towards, but it'll come up where your brain will look to fight that it can't happen. Your brain will want to fight that there is no proof, there's no certainty. I don't feel safe. This is not okay. I don't believe in myself, right? Whenever anything like that is happening, I love to ask myself why I'm fighting more to believe it can't happen than I'm fighting to believe it can happen. I explore that and I really sit in it. And the first thing that almost always comes up in my journal is some sort of sentence around, well, it feels really real that I can't do this. And I explore why. I explore, is that ultimately true? Where are there beliefs that support me? Am I just not ready yet? Which is okay. And in art, to not shame yourself for that and have compassion instead. But really exploring, why am I fighting to believe that I can't do something rather than fighting to believe that I can? I think that's also $1 million question. Where can you feel safe, whether it's that you aren't ready or you are ready and want to do it scared and want to, try anyway and do it without proof? So if that's something that you are struggling, well, if any of this is really anything you're struggling with, and you want to feel so wildly safe, so wildly certain and confident in yourself without the proof that you can create more than you think possible, private coaching is a beautiful container for you to come join. Because so much of the reason of why my clients are known for creating levels of success that they never dreamed possible, whether it is tripling their sales in a fraction of the time, whether it's 7 or 8xing their cash income, which multiple of my clients do, whether it's moving abroad, which also multiple of my clients do, which has been lifetime dreams for them, whether it's starting second businesses and companies, which a huge handful of my clients do, all these miraculous dreams that they have achieved so much faster than they believe possible, is because we develop the safety. And then we develop the belief that creates certainty, and they've never needed proof. At no point did they need proof because they created safety, certainty, and belief in themselves where there was none before. And then they can move so much swifter, stronger, and confidently towards what they want. I think one beautiful example that's really recent for me is that I remember speaking to such a talented, powerful woman in, when was it, October. And she had this goal and she didn't believe it was possible. And we had a big conversation about believing without proof. And she signed to be my client mid-November. And December, she had tripled. I'll just go with tripled. Tripled her highest sales month ever because we developed safety and we developed belief in supportive, tangential things with no proof. It can happen a lot faster than you think. It can happen a lot bigger than you think. And it comes down to creating safety and certainty in yourself through your beliefs, through your body, and really just having your own back and supporting yourself. So that's my short answer. I'm like 20 some minutes in. That's my short answer for the question that I get asked constantly of how do you believe without proof? I hope that was helpful. If this is something you're really wanting help on, if you want to go bigger and better and exist and earn more confidently than you ever have before, I invite you to apply to one-to-one coaching. So again, I think this episode will go out in January. I have 2 spots left until I'm booked out until April. And so if you're interested in this, I highly, highly recommend you come chat with me as soon as possible. Those who put down a either 25% or 50% deposit. If you put down a 25% deposit, you will get a virtual VIP day with me. If you put down a 50% deposit, you will get an in-person VIP weekend with me, either in New York City or San Francisco, where the co-working space is on me, the dinner's on me, the drinks on me. That whole weekend is basically on me, where we'll coach in person, which is just so magical and life-changing. And we will eat and drink and have dinner and discuss, and you can ask me anything. People love to pick my brain in these VIP weekends, and it's just so magical. And even the virtual one has been life-changing. People have valued this 4 hours or 5 hours with me at anywhere from $5,000 to $30,000. Just in the few that I've done, you will change your entire business, even virtually, with these 5 extra hours with me, because we are going to deep dive into every little inch of your marketing and feeling more confident with my confident marketing approach. So if you're interested, again, there are 2 spots left. It is 6 months of working together. We will be diving in every single day in your safety, in your confidence, in your business, in your marketing, in everything that you need to exist and earn more confidently and make confidence and strength for yourself. 6 months every single day. You will also get access to private coaching community, our monthly workshops, and we will get you exactly where you're wanting to go. So 2 spots left for private coaching. Come DM me on Instagram if you have questions. I'd love to chat with you, especially about this topic, since so many of you have questions about this. Or you can go to the link in the show notes to apply to get one of those 2 last spots. But thank you so much for listening, and I hope this was helpful.